Yes, students, in connection with this chapter 6, molecular basis of inheritance, we will continue after DNA replication. We know it is transcription. Okay, so yesterday I had told you that RNA is being formed from which molecule? From DNA. This process is called as transcription, transcribing the DNA molecule into RNA. So the direction actually, when I am drawing like this, it will be going here, that DNA is becoming RNA. The direction which I had written like this now, that RNA is becoming DNA, what it will be called as? It is reverse process. So it will be called as reverse transcription. Both the processes occur in nature, whether it is transcription or reverse transcription. Both of it occur. But naturally in our systems, when we talk about humans, when we talk about bacteria, it is DNA which is converting to RNA. There are certain viruses which basically convert RNA into DNA, which are called as retroviruses. That is why this term is there, reverse transcription. But we will be here looking into the transcription process where the DNA is being converted into RNA. So yesterday we saw about DNA also, gene also. One more concept before we start the transcription process. Another important process or another important concept is the concept of gene. We all know by now that suppose this is DNA molecule, on it certain sequences will be there which will be referred to as gene. But how we can actually say that which DNA segment or which DNA sequence is gene? Because there are different type of RNA which are being coded by DNA. What are those three different types? There are three types of RNA which are being coded by this gene. Okay, so that is tRNA, mRNA and rRNA. And plus gene will code for protein also. We know this very well. It will code for proteins. What are proteins? These are made up of amino acids and they are having peptide bonds in between. Because they are having peptide bonds, we also call it polypeptide. So these proteins are nothing but polypeptides. So gene is also coding for this and also coding for these. How we will distinguish between that? That is why a new term is there, separate term, cistron. Cistron is that DNA segment or that DNA part or sequence which will code for polypeptide. And we will segregate gene into that which can code for these RNAs, different types of RNAs. So cistron is the DNA segment which will code for polypeptide and gene is the segment which can code for different types of RNA. That is the difference. Now if this DNA segment, I am talking about this part, suppose it is coding for a particular polypeptide, one polypeptide, then it is called as monocistronic, single polypeptide. If the single segment which I am talking about, this segment, it can code for more than one polypeptide, then it can be called as polycistronic, because poly means multiple, many. Point to be noted here is that monocistronic DNA is present in eukaryotes like humans and polycistronic DNA segments are present in prokaryotes like bacteria. So again, very important question, how the transcription process is different in eukaryotes and prokaryotes. First difference is very clear to you, that it is monocistronic in eukaryotes and in prokaryotes like bacteria it is polycistronic. Another important difference, again I will just take this DNA segment and I will make a straight line. I am just straightening it. Okay. Now there are certain segments, see I am drawing like this, these are the segments and I am in between making this pattern. This pattern actually means this part is not coding for anything, but this part is coding for the protein. So there are coding regions you can say and there are non-coding regions. The coding regions are called as exons and the non-coding regions are called as introns. So means in case of eukaryotes we have introns also, we have exons also. But in case of prokaryotes there are no introns. Means the complete DNA segment will be coding for polypeptide. That is why somewhere you can feel that in prokaryotes it is polycistronic, that a single segment can code for multiple polypeptides. But in case of eukaryotes we know there are exons coding and introns non-coding regions. So do we need those non-coding regions? No. We don't require the non-coding regions. So these will be removed. They have to be removed. Yeah. So we can say this is split arrangement. Split arrangement of genes. It has to be splitted up. So the process by which these exons will be remaining and introns will be removed, that is called as splicing. So what is splicing of DNA? That the introns will be removed because we don't need the non-coding regions. We only need the coding regions. So that is why this process will be called as splicing, and that is present in eukaryotes. Another definition of gene, now we come why we are talking about cistrons, why we are talking about gene as separate. Because there are separate DNA sequences which will act as regulatory sequences. So those genes can be called as regulatory genes because they will be regulating what? Like promoting, promoters, terminating, terminators. Those sequences are also there. They are not coding for a polypeptide, but they are regulating the process. Like we told in the previous lecture that the transcription unit is having a structural gene, a promoter at the starting and terminator at the end. So those promoters and terminators, those are regulatory genes which is regulating any process. So that is why this gene concept should be clear before we continue with this and transcription. Okay. Now let us come to the three different types of RNA which I have listed over here. What are these and how they perform the function? tRNA from T, it is transfer RNA. Then mRNA from this M, messenger RNA. Then rRNA from this R, ribosomal RNA. Now from the term itself, just try to guess it out. That transfer RNA means that it is transferring something. Now what is that something? The RNA has to form the protein. So there has to be some protein molecule which it is bringing over there, amino acids it is transferring. That is transfer RNA. Then come to messenger RNA, mRNA, which I just now wrote now. DNA is forming RNA. This RNA which is being formed before the form the proteins, that is why this actually is the mRNA, messenger, because it is carrying the message. Then coming to next type, that is ribosomal RNA, rRNA. It is present where in the ribosomes, because ribosomes also require RNA. They are also involved in the translation process after transcription. So everything is interlinked. So these are the three types of RNA. And which enzyme makes these three types of RNA? You should know the name, and that is RNA polymerase, because it is polymerizing RNA. So RNA polymerase, it synthesizes all the three types of RNA, whether it is tRNA, mRNA or RNA. All the three types are synthesized by RNA polymerase. So transferring message, acting as template for the proteins, and ribosomal RNA, it is also actually performing the role of catalysis. What is catalysis? Making any reaction faster. So when translation process will happen, this will help in making the structural, whatever structure is required of the molecule and whatever fast reaction catalysis is required. So this is clear over here. Now let us come to that what is happening in prokaryotes, how this process is happening in prokaryotes. Again, mind you that both these are different. Some of the other process in prokaryote and eukaryote has to be different. Okay. So firstly, let us see in prokaryotes, that is in bacteria, how it is happening. Okay. In bacteria, first point to be noted is that only single RNA polymerase is there. A single RNA polymerase polymerase will code for all the 3 RNA. Now this single RNA polymerase, can I call it DNA dependent RNA polymerase? Because it is dependent on the DNA template. Which side? 3' to 5'. So 3' to 5' DNA is acting as template. This will be copied into mRNA. So this RNA polymerase can be said as DNA dependent RNA polymerase. Now what is happening in bacteria? This RNA polymerase is performing all the functions, right? What are the 3 important steps in any process? To elongate, to start first of all, to elongate and to stop, 3 processes. So we can say initiation, elongation and termination. So the main, you can say, function of this RNA polymerase is to elongate. For initiation and termination, there are certain other factors, certain other proteins which are there. So for initiation, there is initiation factor sigma, protein it is, and for terminating, there is another factor, termination factor, which is a Rho factor. So point to be noted here for MCQs that RNA polymerase is mainly performing elongation with the help of certain other factors, proteins, sigma being initiation factor, Rho being termination. Okay, that is how it is performing all the functions. Now if you remember prokaryotic cell, if I draw it here, I think you will recognize that this is the nucleoid which is freely present in cytoplasm. Okay, this is the nucleoid which is freely present, no membrane is there. So here actually transcription is happening and here only translation will start. Because first of all there are no introns, there is no need to do splicing of non-coding regions, all regions are coding. So directly the transcription which is there in cytoplasm happening over here will start doing the translation. Because there is no need first of all to remove the introns, no introns are there. Secondly, it is suspended in the cytoplasm itself. It doesn't have to move out from somewhere into the cytoplasm, it is there. So we can say both these processes are coupled in case of prokaryotes. Coupled means doing side by side. It is happening side by side. Now lastly, the last part of the lecture is eukaryotes. So I am writing over here so that it's clearly distinguishable. In case of eukaryotes, if again I draw a cell like this, nucleus can be clearly visible with this nuclear membrane and inside this DNA is there. So means transcription is happening inside this nucleus and for translation to occur, this RNA which is synthesized from this has to move in the cytoplasm because the ribosomes are here. So it has to move out. Okay, so the separation of location, transcription inside nucleus, translation in the cytoplasm, but over there it is coupled because there is no separate entity. Now in eukaryotes, first difference, there are 3 RNA polymerases. RNA pol, in short we write pol 1, RNA pol 2 and RNA pol 3. Actually this 2-1 is making the mRNA. Okay, this 2 RNA polymerase 2 is making the mRNA. Rest 2 are helping in the formation of rRNA and tRNAs. Okay, so this RNA polymerase 2 will form the mRNA. Now another important point over here, this mRNA has to move out in the cytoplasm. In the cytoplasm, chances are there this mRNA will degrade because there can be some enzymes present in the cytoplasm which can attack on this mRNA. So means we need to protect this mRNA. So there are certain modifications in this mRNA. So initially this mRNA will be called as heterogeneous mRNA or HN RNA. Why? Because it is not the foolproof RNA from which the protein will be synthesized. First it has to undergo modification at 5' end also and at 3' end also. Then it will start the translation. So this is the precursor, and after modification, that is the mature RNA, you will say, mature mRNA. So at 5' end, there will be addition of methyl guanosine triphosphate, this molecule, which will protect the 5' end. And to protect the 3' end, there is a poly A tail. What is this A? Adenine sequences, very long. So that this molecule is protected and then the translation will happen. So lastly, remember that when translation has to happen in eukaryotes after this, firstly the introns have to be removed, split, splicing has to be done. Then it will be coding for the proteins. Okay, then later on we will see how the translation process will